It begins quietly. Around the age of 60, something almost imperceptible starts to happen in your body. You might not notice it at first. Maybe your jeans feel a little looser around the thighs, or you struggle a bit more when getting up from the couch. But you dismiss it. I am just tired today, you tell yourself. But what if that tiredness is not temporary? What if your body is silently losing something essential every day? Something that holds the key to your strength, your independence, and even your longevity. Muscle loss after 60 is one of the most dangerous and least talked about conditions facing the modern aging population, and yet no doctor sits you down to tell you that it is coming. It's not just about looking fit or toned. We are talking about sarcopenia, the progressive loss of skeletal muscle mass, strength, and function. It sounds clinical, but its effects are deeply personal. Without muscle, your body becomes fragile. Your metabolism slows, your balance falters, your risk of falls increases. Your ability to enjoy life, to move freely, to protect yourself from disease, all of it begins to erode. And the most terrifying part? This starts long before you turn 60. In fact, after the age of 30, the average person begins to lose between 3 and 5% of their muscle mass each decade. By the time you hit 60, the trap has already been set. But no one warned you. No one told you that by the time you notice it, you are already deep into the loss. So why does this happen? Why does our bodies start to break down the very tissue we need to survive? The answer is complex, but it begins with hormones. Testosterone and growth hormone, two critical agents of muscle synthesis, begin to decline naturally as we age. Protein synthesis slows down. The signals that once told your body to repair and rebuild become weaker, less frequent. And worse, many of the foods we eat every single day are accelerating this process without us even realizing it. Think about that for a moment. What if your diet, the very thing you believe is keeping you healthy, is actually draining your muscle reserves? Processed carbohydrates, refined sugars, inflammatory seed oils, these are not just bad for your waistline. They attack your mitochondria, the engines inside your cells, and reduce your ability to create energy. Without energy, muscles cannot grow. They cannot heal, they cannot stay. And every year you continue this cycle, the trap tightens. Now here is the uncomfortable truth. If you are over 40, this process has already begun. You are likely losing muscle right now, this very moment, while listening to this. But there is good news. This process is not inevitable. It is not irreversible. It can be slowed, even reversed with the right changes, but you have to act now because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to recover. And here is where it gets emotional, because this is not just about biology. It is about what it means to age with dignity, to play with your grandchildren without pain, to walk up a flight of stairs without stopping, to dance, to run, to hug someone without wincing. When you lose muscle, you lose more than strength. You lose part of your identity, and yet the mainstream medical system rarely addresses this. They focus on blood pressure, on cholesterol, on glucose. But where is the conversation about lean body mass? Where is the alarm bell for the shrinking muscle fibers that keep you mobile and alive? No one rings it. So today, we are ringing it for you, because someone has to. And while we are here, if this matters to you, if you care about protecting your body, your mind, your ability to thrive into your 70s, your 80s and beyond, then subscribe now. This channel is about giving you the truth, without filters, without distractions, real health, real science, real solutions. And you are going to need every single one of them if you are going to escape the silent trap. Because the trap is not just muscle loss. It is the mindset that says it is too late, that it is normal, that you should just accept weakness as a part of getting older. That is the real danger. So ask yourself, what if what you eat every day is silently aging your muscles? What if every healthy choice you have been taught to make is actually accelerating your decline? The answer might shock you. But before we get to the most damaging foods, before we expose the hidden ingredients stealing your strength, we need to understand one more critical mistake people over 40 make when it comes to their health. It is not just about what you eat, it is about what your body no longer absorbs. Because as you age, your digestive system also weakens, enzymes decline, stomach acid decreases, and suddenly, even if you are eating enough protein, your body may not be able to use it. That is the double-edged sword. Not only are you losing muscle faster, but your ability to rebuild it is also compromised. It is like trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. You keep pouring in effort, but nothing sticks. And here is the worst part. No one told you. Not your doctor, not your dietitian, not your fitness instructor. They all focused on calories, on exercise, on supplements. But without bioavailability, without digestive strength, none of that matters. So what can you do? The first step is awareness. The second step is urgency. You must act as if your independence depends on it, because it does. But that is only the beginning. Because while digestion and hormones play a critical role, there is a far more dangerous enemy hiding in your kitchen pantry right now. A food so common, so accepted, so widespread, that almost every household in the developed world consumes it daily. And yet, this food accelerates aging, inflames muscle tissue, and shuts down your body's ability to regenerate muscle fibers. What is it? We are going to reveal that in the next part. But brace yourself, because it is probably in your kitchen right now. It is in nearly every breakfast table, hidden in plain sight, masquerading as a healthy choice. Granola bars, fruit yogurts, whole grain cereals, even flavored oatmeal. What do they all have in common? Refined sugars combined with processed carbohydrates. You see, the most damaging food accelerating muscle loss after 40 is not always the greasy fast food or the oversized restaurant portions. It is often the innocent-looking, healthy options filled with hidden sugars and low-quality grains. These foods spike your insulin levels, flood your bloodstream with glucose, and trigger a cascade of metabolic dysfunctions that directly impair muscle maintenance and regeneration. Here is the science. High insulin levels suppress growth hormone, which is essential for muscle repair. Worse, every time you eat these foods, your body shifts into fat storage mode and muscle wasting mode. Over time, your cells become less responsive to insulin. Insulin resistance sets in. That means your body is constantly dealing with high blood sugar, inflammation and oxidative stress, all of which erode your lean muscle mass. And let us not forget about cortisol, the stress hormone. Chronically high blood sugar leads to elevated cortisol, which breaks down muscle tissue for energy. That is right. Every muffin, every sugary granola bar, every fat-free yogurt laced with syrups may be silently sabotaging your muscles. But that is not even the worst part. Many people over 40 begin replacing full meals with snacks, protein bars, nutrition shakes and fiber cookies, thinking they are making smart choices. But these ultra-processed foods do not nourish you. They stimulate cravings, promote fat gain, and trick your satiety signals, leading to overeating. And because they lack essential amino acids, your body cannot use them to rebuild muscle. So not only are you not maintaining muscle, but you are also accelerating its loss. Think about this. Every bite you take is a message to your body. Either build or break, heal or harm, regenerate or degenerate. And if the message is laced with sugar and processed carbs, the body chooses breakdown every single time. Now imagine this happening daily, weekly, monthly, for years. The silent erosion continues, and by the time you hit 60, you have already lost up to 30% of your muscle mass. And still, no one told you. No one warned you that your healthy breakfast cereal was killing your strength. Let us reflect. How many people do you know who eat these foods every day and cannot understand why they feel weaker, more tired, and less energetic as they age? They blame aging, they blame genetics, they blame bad luck. But what if the truth is right there in the pantry? Is it really possible to reverse this even past 70? Yes, but only if you are willing to throw out everything you thought you knew about healthy eating. You need real food. You need high-quality proteins, healthy fats and carbohydrates from natural, whole sources. And you need to remove the foods that spike your blood sugar and destroy your metabolism. This change alone can make a dramatic difference, because here is something few people realize. Muscle is your metabolic currency. It burns calories even when you are at rest. It regulates glucose. It protects your bones. The more muscle you have, the healthier your entire system becomes. The less muscle you have, the faster you decline. And do not fall for the myth that cardio alone is the solution. Endless walking on a treadmill will not rebuild lost muscle. You need resistance, you need tension. You need to stimulate those fibers to wake them up. But we will come back to that in a future part. For now, let us focus on one simple, powerful shift: eliminating foods that spike your insulin unnecessarily. That means ditching sugary cereals, sweetened yogurts, granola bars, protein bars with more than 5 ingredients, flavored coffee creamers, and most bottled smoothies. Replace them with real food: pasture-raised eggs, unsweetened Greek yogurt with berries, sprouted grain toast with avocado, or a small serving of nuts with a hard-boiled egg. And do not fear dietary fat. Fat does not make you fat. Sugar and processed starches do. Healthy fats are muscle protective. They stabilize blood sugar, support hormone production, and keep you full longer. Saturated fat from high-quality animal sources, monounsaturated fat from olives and avocados, omega-3s from fatty fish. These are your allies. But we are just scratching the surface. Because even if you remove sugar and processed carbs, there is another mistake almost everyone over 40 makes: not eating enough protein. And even when they do, they eat it at the wrong times and in the wrong amounts. We will explore that deeply in the next part. But before we go there, I want you to stop and reflect. Could it be that your breakfast routine, your snack habits, your innocent mid-afternoon yogurt are all part of the reason your body feels weaker each year? It is a hard truth to face, but necessary, because facing the truth gives you power, and power gives you control. And that control can change everything. Do not let the silent trap continue tightening. Break free now. And as we peel back more layers of this muscle-destroying puzzle, remember this: the path to rebuilding your strength begins with awareness. But knowledge without action is wasted. Are you ready to act? Good. Because what you are about to discover next may be the most important piece yet. It's not just about removing sugar. It is not even just about adding protein. It's about timing, dosage, and understanding the subtle signals your body sends, signals we often ignore. One of the most overlooked causes of muscle loss after 40 is something incredibly simple: under-eating protein at the right times of day. Let me explain. Most people eat very little protein for breakfast, a moderate amount at lunch, and then overcompensate at dinner. But by then, the body's muscle-building machinery is already winding down. Your body does not store amino acids the way it stores fat or sugar. So, if you do not give it the right amount of protein in the morning, you are missing your prime anabolic window. That is when your metabolism is most active and your muscles are primed for rebuilding. And yet, what do most people over 40 eat for breakfast? A banana, maybe a bowl of cereal, perhaps some toast or a cup of coffee with a splash of milk. Almost zero usable protein. And so the day starts with catabolism, muscle breakdown. Then comes lunch, maybe a sandwich or a salad with a few ounces of chicken, still not enough. Then dinner becomes the only high-protein meal of the day. But here is the problem. Muscle protein synthesis is dose-dependent and time-sensitive. Studies show that to stimulate muscle growth, You need about 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein per meal, spread out evenly through the day. Not all at once, not just at night. So when you cram 60 grams of steak at dinner, your body can only use part of it for muscle repair. The rest is wasted or converted to energy. And meanwhile, your body has spent the first 10 or 12 hours of your day in a catabolic state, burning muscle, not building it. This pattern, repeated day after day, year after year, accelerates sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle mass and function. It is no wonder that by 60, many people struggle with fatigue, joint pain, poor posture, and weight gain. The very architecture of their bodies is collapsing, and they do not even realize why. But here is where it gets even more dangerous. When you lose muscle, you do not just lose strength. You lose your metabolic control. Muscle is the primary site where glucose is absorbed. Less muscle means more glucose in your bloodstream. More glucose means higher insulin. And higher insulin means more fat gain, more inflammation, and more hormonal disruption. It is a vicious cycle, and it all starts with one quiet mistake repeated every day, skipping protein at breakfast and under-eating it at lunch. So what if you changed that? What if you began your day with 30 grams of clean, complete protein? Pasture-raised eggs with cottage cheese, a whey protein isolate shake with almond butter, grass-fed beef sausage with spinach and olive oil. It is not about eating more, it is about eating smarter, and the results are fast. Within weeks, many people report more energy in the morning, less hunger at night, improved mood, better focus, and most importantly, better strength and body composition. But this shift takes commitment, because we are undoing decades of nutritional programming that told us to fear fat, avoid meat, and start the day with carbs. But let me ask you this. Has that advice worked for your energy? Has it helped you stay lean, strong, and vibrant past 40? Or has it left you confused, tired, and slowly losing the muscle that once carried you so easily through the day? You see, muscle is not just for athletes. It is your life insurance. It protects you from falls. It supports your joints. It maintains your insulin sensitivity. It gives you the physical and emotional confidence to move through life with power. But that muscle needs raw material, and the raw material is protein, not just in quantity, but in quality. You need complete proteins, those that contain all 9 essential amino acids. Animal proteins, eggs, dairy, fish, and certain well-combined plant proteins like quinoa and legumes. And you need to stop relying on incomplete sources like bread, rice, and snack bars. These do not build muscle, they do not regenerate tissue, they do not protect you, they only fill your stomach. And sometimes, that false feeling of fullness tricks you into thinking you are nourished. But you are not. You are slowly, silently wasting away. The good news is that it is reversible. Even past 60, 70, even 80 years old, research shows that with the right intake of high-quality protein and resistance training, older adults can rebuild muscle. Not just maintain, rebuild. But you have to act now, because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. And here is something most doctors will not tell you. Sarcopenia begins around the age of 30. By 40, it accelerates. And by 60, most people have lost a quarter of their total muscle mass. This is not about vanity. It is about survival. Strength equals independence. Weakness equals dependence. Which path do you want to choose? If you are still with me, it means you care. It means you are ready to change. But knowledge is not enough. You must apply it. Begin with this simple shift. Eat 30 grams of complete protein within 90 minutes of waking up. Then do it again at lunch, then again at dinner. Equal distribution, maximum stimulation, rebuild from the inside out. You owe it to your future self. And before we move on, I invite you, if this has opened your eyes, if it has stirred something inside you, subscribe to the channel. This is more than information. This is transformation. You do not have to age the way most people do, but you must take action. And what comes next will shake your understanding even more. because there is a nutrient deficiency silently stealing your muscle mass, one that almost no one is talking about. Magnesium. You have heard the name before, maybe as a supplement for better sleep or muscle cramps, but have you ever stopped to consider its crucial role in preserving your muscle mass after 40? Most people do not realize that magnesium deficiency is a hidden epidemic, quietly sabotaging muscle health and accelerating loss as the years pass. You see, magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, many of which are essential for muscle function, energy production, and protein synthesis. Without adequate magnesium, your muscles become weak, prone to cramps, and less able to repair themselves after the daily wear and tear. What if I told you that as you age, your body's ability to absorb and retain magnesium declines? Combine that with modern diets rich in processed foods, sugar, and caffeine, and you have the perfect storm for deficiency. This means that even if you think you eat well, your muscles might be starving for magnesium at the cellular level. Magnesium deficiency leads to a cascade of problems: impaired muscle contractions, increased inflammation, poor sleep quality, all of which contribute to muscle breakdown. Worse, low magnesium disrupts insulin sensitivity, linking back to the sugar and carbohydrate problem we discussed earlier. But most people do not feel these signs immediately. Instead, they chalk up fatigue, restless legs, and muscle aches to getting older. The uncomfortable truth is that without magnesium, your muscles cannot function optimally, and the silent erosion continues. So what foods are rich in magnesium? Leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, nuts like almonds and cashews, seeds such as pumpkin and sunflower, and whole grains like brown rice and quinoa. But here is the catch. Modern agricultural practices have depleted the magnesium content in soil, making even these foods less potent than before. That is why supplementation may be necessary. However, not all magnesium supplements are created equal. Magnesium oxide, for example, has poor absorption and can cause digestive upset. Magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate are far superior in bioavailability and muscle benefits. But before you rush to the store, consider this. Magnesium works synergistically with other nutrients like vitamin D, calcium, and potassium. An imbalance can lead to further problems. This means you need a holistic approach, not just isolated supplementation. Imagine a muscle factory running low on raw materials, magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, all out of sync, leading to production delays, errors, and breakdowns. This is exactly what happens in the body during aging if nutrient imbalances are not corrected. And here is the difficult truth. Many older adults are deficient in vitamin D, which impairs magnesium absorption. Without adequate vitamin D, even high magnesium intake is wasted. The cycle deepens, so if you want to fight muscle loss, you must address these deficiencies simultaneously. Test your levels, work with your doctor, and tailor your supplementation accordingly. But it does not stop there. Stress and poor sleep further deplete magnesium. Chronic stress releases cortisol, which wastes magnesium faster. Poor sleep, which so many over 40 struggle with, prevents your body from restoring magnesium overnight. So the question is, how can you break this vicious cycle? Begin by improving your diet with magnesium-rich foods, reducing sugar and caffeine intake, managing stress through mindfulness or gentle exercise, and prioritizing restorative sleep. This is not optional. It is essential for muscle preservation. Because weak muscles are not just a cosmetic problem, they increase your risk of falls, fractures, and chronic disability. And the more magnesium you lose, the weaker your muscles become. But do not lose hope. Supplementing wisely, eating magnesium-rich foods, and managing lifestyle factors can turn the tide. You can rebuild strength, you can reclaim vitality. If only it ended there. But there is something else almost no one knows about muscle loss after 40, something even more surprising than magnesium deficiency. It is a hormonal secret that is rarely discussed outside specialized medical circles, and it will be the focus of our next part. Before we go, I want to remind you, if you have found value in this journey, please subscribe to the channel, because this information is not just about facts, it is about hope, change, and reclaiming your life. Your body can still recover, but only if you act today. Subscribe and begin the change. When we think about muscle loss after 40, most people imagine it as an unavoidable consequence of aging, something that just happens like wrinkles or gray hair. But what if the root cause is something more insidious? A hormone silently draining your muscle strength, robbing you of vitality without any obvious warning? That hormone is testosterone. You might think testosterone is only important for young men or athletes, but the truth is, it plays a critical role in muscle maintenance for everyone, male or female, young or old. After the age of 35 to 40, testosterone levels naturally decline at a steady rate, about 1 to 2% per year. By the time many reach 60, they may have lost nearly half of their youthful hormone production. This is not just about libido or energy. Testosterone is a powerful anabolic hormone, meaning it stimulates muscle protein synthesis and growth. When testosterone dips, your body becomes less efficient at building and maintaining muscle mass. But here is the alarming part. Low testosterone does not just cause muscle loss, it also increases fat accumulation, especially around the abdomen, which in turn further reduces testosterone levels, creating a vicious cycle. And it is not just men who suffer. Women also experience declines in androgen hormones, including testosterone, leading to muscle weakness and fatigue, especially during and after menopause. What makes this hormonal decline particularly dangerous is that the symptoms can be subtle and easily mistaken for normal aging. Fatigue, mood swings, difficulty gaining muscle, increased body fat, reduced stamina, all blamed on time rather than a treatable hormone imbalance. And most doctors do not routinely check testosterone levels in middle-aged or older adults, missing an opportunity to intervene early. The consequences are severe. Without sufficient testosterone, your muscle repair slows, your strength wanes, and your metabolism falters. This hormonal shortage affects your energy levels, your motivation to exercise, and your overall quality of life. But the good news is that testosterone levels are not entirely fixed by genetics or age. Lifestyle factors play a huge role. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which suppresses testosterone production. Poor sleep reduces nightly hormone spikes necessary for recovery. Nutritional deficiencies, particularly in zinc, vitamin D, and healthy fats, also impair hormone synthesis. Sedentary behavior accelerates hormonal decline. So what if you could slow, stop, or even partially reverse this decline? What if you could reignite your body's natural testosterone production to rebuild muscle, burn fat, and regain your vitality? It is possible. Resistance training, especially heavy lifting, is one of the most effective natural boosters of testosterone. Adequate sleep, 7 to 9 hours per night, helps restore hormonal balance. Managing stress through meditation, deep breathing, or hobbies can lower cortisol and protect testosterone. Nutritionally, foods rich in zinc such as oysters, pumpkin seeds, and lean meats are vital. Vitamin D, synthesized through safe sun exposure or supplementation, is a critical hormone precursor. Healthy fats from avocados, nuts, and olive oil support hormone production. However, beware of the common pitfall. Simply taking testosterone replacement therapy without addressing underlying lifestyle causes may provide short-term gains, but often leads to dependency and side effects. It is the holistic approach, diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, that creates sustainable hormonal health. And for those with severe deficiencies, carefully supervised medical interventions can be life-changing. But here is the hard truth. Ignoring hormonal health is like ignoring the foundation of a house while complaining the walls are cracking. Muscle loss after 40 is not just a matter of willpower or exercise. It is a biological crisis that requires a multifaceted solution. If you are over 40 and noticing weakness, fatigue, or weight gain, ask yourself, when was the last time you had your hormones checked? Are you giving your body what it needs to thrive or just surviving? This is the silent trap no one warned you about. And it will determine how you age, how you move, and how you live. Before we go further, if you feel this is important and want to reclaim your strength, subscribe to the channel, because together we will uncover the secrets to beating muscle loss and living with power. But the story does not end with hormones. What if the foods you eat every day are also silently aging your muscles in ways you never imagined? That will be our next revelation. Have you ever considered that the very foods filling your plate might be the silent assassins of your muscle strength after 40? Most diets, even those touted as healthy, contain hidden culprits that accelerate muscle loss through inflammation, insulin resistance, and hormonal disruption. One of the most pervasive offenders is sugar. Not just the obvious sweet treats, but hidden sugars in breads, sauces, and processed foods. When you consume excess sugar, your body floods with insulin to manage blood sugar spikes. Over time, this repeated insulin surge leads to insulin resistance, a condition where your cells stop responding properly to insulin S signal. Why does this matter for muscle? Because insulin is a potent anabolic hormone that signals your muscles to absorb glucose and build protein. When insulin resistance sets in, your muscles stop responding to these anabolic signals, leading to impaired muscle repair and growth. But sugar does not only impair insulin function, it also promotes systemic inflammation. Inflammation triggers the release of catabolic cytokines, molecules that break down muscle tissue. This is a double whammy. Your muscles receive fewer anabolic signals while simultaneously being attacked by inflammatory factors. And sugar's effects do not stop there. It drives fat accumulation, particularly visceral fat around organs, which further exacerbates inflammation and hormonal imbalances, including lowering testosterone. What if your seemingly innocent daily latte with flavored syrup or that sandwich with processed bread is silently accelerating your muscle decline? It is a harsh truth that many resist facing. The typical Western diet, with its reliance on refined carbohydrates, sugars, and processed fats, is fueling the very muscle loss we dread. The solution is not simply cutting sugar alone, but transforming your entire nutritional approach. Emphasizing whole, unprocessed foods, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, nuts, and seeds, provides the building blocks your muscles crave. Low glycemic carbohydrates, such as sweet potatoes, quinoa, and legumes, stabilize blood sugar and support sustained energy. Healthy fats, especially omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish or flax seeds, reduce inflammation and support cell membrane integrity. Protein intake is crucial here. After 40, your muscles require more protein to stimulate repair due to anabolic resistance. Aim for high-quality sources like grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, eggs, and plant-based options like lentils and chickpeas. But beware the common mistake. Relying on protein powders and supplements alone without addressing overall diet quality and sugar intake will not suffice. The process of muscle loss is multifaceted and requires a comprehensive approach. What if your body's chronic low-grade inflammation, fed by sugar and processed foods, is eroding your muscles without your awareness? Could reversing this inflammatory cascade be the key to halting muscle loss? These are the questions you must ask yourself. But the story becomes more complicated. Not all carbohydrates are villains. In fact, the timing and type of carbohydrates you consume matter enormously for muscle preservation. Eating the right carbs post-workout can spike insulin beneficially to aid muscle repair, but constant high-sugar intake throughout the day wreaks havoc. If only it ended there. But there is something else almost no one knows about diet and muscle aging. Certain food additives and preservatives have muscle-toxic effects, impairing mitochondrial function, the energy factories inside muscle cells. Mitochondrial dysfunction means your muscles fatigue faster, recover slower, and deteriorate with time. And this leads us to a whole new realm of muscle aging nobody talks about. But before diving deeper, if this journey resonates with you and you want to reclaim your muscle strength and vitality, subscribe to the channel. Because this knowledge is power, and power is change. Your body can still recover, but only if you act today. Subscribe and begin the change. Mitochondria, those tiny powerhouses inside your muscle cells, hold the secret to why your strength fades after 40. Yet most people never even consider their role. Mitochondria generate the energy your muscles need to contract, repair, and grow. But as we age, mitochondrial function declines, leading to fatigue, reduced endurance, and muscle loss. What is causing this mitochondrial decline? It is a combination of natural aging, poor nutrition, lack of exercise, and exposure to toxins, including certain food additives and preservatives that are alarmingly common in processed foods. These compounds, such as artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers, and preservatives, interfere with mitochondrial efficiency, causing oxidative stress and damaging muscle cells at a fundamental level. Imagine your muscle cells as factories needing constant energy. When mitochondria falter, the factory slows, machines break down, and repairs are delayed. This is precisely what happens when you consume a diet high in ultra-processed foods laden with chemical additives. And the danger is compounded by sedentary lifestyles. Without regular physical activity, especially aerobic and resistance training, your mitochondria do not receive the signals necessary to maintain and multiply. Exercise acts as a rejuvenating stimulus, prompting your muscle cells to produce more and healthier mitochondria. But when you stop moving, the opposite occurs. Mitochondria shrink in number and function, accelerating muscle wasting. Here lies a harsh truth. Muscle loss after 40 is not only about protein intake or hormones, but a profound energy crisis at the cellular level. If your mitochondria are failing, no amount of protein or exercise alone will restore muscle strength. You must heal your mitochondria. So how can you support mitochondrial health? First, adopt a diet rich in antioxidants, which neutralize damaging free radicals that destroy mitochondria. Foods like berries, dark leafy greens, nuts, and colorful vegetables are packed with antioxidants that protect muscle cells. Next, consider nutrient support. Coenzyme Q10, alpha-lipoic acid, and acetyl L-carnitine are supplements shown to enhance mitochondrial function and muscle energy production. However, supplementation should complement, not replace, a nutrient-dense diet. Exercise remains critical. Both endurance and resistance training stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria, and improve their efficiency. This is why exercise is not just a way to burn calories, but a fundamental anti-aging intervention for muscle preservation. But if you are struggling with fatigue and muscle weakness, where do you start? It can feel overwhelming. The answer is consistency, small daily actions that build mitochondrial resilience over time. Reduce intake of processed foods, increase antioxidant-rich whole foods, move regularly, manage stress, and prioritize sleep. These factors synergize to restore your cellular power. Yet despite all these strategies, many people miss one vital element: the role of chronic inflammation in mitochondrial damage. Inflammation generates reactive oxygen species that directly impair mitochondria and trigger muscle catabolism. This brings us back full circle to the importance of managing sugar, stress, and diet quality. So the question is, are you ready to confront the silent fire of inflammation within? To fight back not just with willpower, but with knowledge and action? Because your mitochondria are fighting right now, and their health determines your muscle future. And if you think this is just about physical strength, think again. Mitochondrial decline impacts brain function, mood, and longevity. Fighting muscle loss is fighting for your whole life. If this message resonates and you want to continue transforming your health, please subscribe to the channel. Together, we will uncover every secret to reclaiming vitality after 40. But that is not all. There is one more crucial nutrient that we have yet to explore, one that is surprisingly overlooked in the fight against muscle loss. That will be our next focus. There is a nutrient so essential to muscle preservation after 40, yet so frequently overlooked that it can mean the difference between slow decline and vibrant strength. This nutrient is magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, many directly related to muscle contraction, protein synthesis, and energy metabolism. Yet surveys show that up to 75% of adults do not get enough magnesium from their diets. Why does this matter so much for muscle loss? Because magnesium acts as a natural relaxant and regulator for muscles, preventing cramping and fatigue while supporting efficient contraction. Without sufficient magnesium, muscle fibers become prone to weakness, spasms, and slower recovery. More importantly, magnesium is crucial for the production of adenosine triphosphate, ATP, the cellular energy currency that powers every muscle movement. If ATP production falters due to magnesium deficiency, your muscles will feel tired, slow, and weak, even with adequate protein and exercise. What is even more alarming is that magnesium deficiency also increases inflammation and oxidative stress, further damaging mitochondria and accelerating muscle breakdown. The modern diet and lifestyle work against magnesium status. Processed foods are stripped of magnesium. Stress and certain medications deplete magnesium stores. Poor gut health impairs absorption. So even those eating healthy might struggle to maintain optimal magnesium levels. The connection between magnesium and muscle aging is one of the silent betrayals of middle age. What if you have been consuming foods that actually rob your magnesium, like excessive caffeine, alcohol, and sugar? What if you are unknowingly accelerating your muscle decline through simple dietary choices? The good news is that magnesium can be replenished. Foods rich in magnesium include leafy greens like spinach and kale, nuts and seeds, whole grains and legumes. Including these daily supports muscle function and recovery. But sometimes diet alone is insufficient, and carefully monitored supplementation can be transformative. However, it is critical to avoid magnesium supplements with low bioavailability or laxative effects. Forms such as magnesium citrate, glycinate, and malate are better absorbed and gentler on the digestive system. Yet magnesium is only part of the story. Its effectiveness is closely tied to other minerals and vitamins, such as calcium, potassium, and vitamin D. A balanced intake of these nutrients creates a synergistic environment for muscle health. But what if you have been taking vitamin D supplements but ignoring magnesium? Your muscle and bone benefits might be limited because magnesium activates vitamin D metabolism. This interconnectedness highlights how muscle loss after 40 is a complex biochemical web, not a simple problem with a simple fix. So how do you ensure you are truly nourishing your muscles at the mineral level? It starts with awareness and testing. Blood tests can detect magnesium deficiency, though they may underestimate total body stores. Functional testing or dietary assessment is also important, but beyond testing, it requires intentional daily food choices and mindful supplementation if needed. If only more people understood this hidden link, muscle loss could be slowed dramatically, but that is not all. There is an even greater challenge when it comes to muscle preservation. It is the silent erosion caused by inadequate protein digestion and absorption, a problem many do not suspect until weakness is advanced. That will be our next revelation. For those who want to empower themselves with knowledge and fight back against muscle loss with every weapon available, subscribe to the channel. Your body can still recover, but only if you act today. Subscribe and begin the change. Muscle loss after 40 is not simply about eating enough protein. It is about your body's ability to digest, absorb, and utilize that protein effectively. Here lies a silent epidemic. Many adults experience decreased digestive enzyme production, reduced stomach acid, and altered gut microbiota, all of which compromise protein absorption. If you are consuming high-protein foods but still feeling weak or fatigued, it may not be the amount of protein at fault, but your digestion. Without sufficient stomach acid, proteins remain partially broken down, leading to inefficient amino acid absorption, the building blocks your muscles desperately need. Furthermore, gut imbalances, such as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or inflammation, further impair nutrient absorption and create systemic inflammation that promotes muscle breakdown. This is a crucial insight that few discuss. Muscle loss after 40 can accelerate not only because of what you eat, but because your gut cannot deliver those nutrients to your muscles. So what can you do? First, support digestive health by eating foods rich in natural enzymes, such as pineapple and papaya, which help break down proteins. Incorporating fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, and sauerkraut nourishes beneficial gut bacteria, enhancing digestion and immune function. Avoid excessive use of antacids or proton pump inhibitors, which can decrease stomach acid and impair protein digestion further. But beyond diet, there are supplements such as betaine hydrochloride and digestive enzyme complexes that may support protein digestion, especially in individuals with documented digestive insufficiency. These interventions can dramatically improve amino acid availability for muscle repair, yet digestion is only part of the puzzle. The hormonal environment is equally critical. After 40, levels of anabolic hormones such as growth hormone, testosterone, and insulin-like growth factor decline naturally. This hormonal shift reduces muscle protein synthesis, even if protein intake and digestion are adequate. This phenomenon, known as anabolic resistance, means your muscles become less responsive to the signals that normally promote growth and repair. How can you combat this? Resistance training is the most powerful natural stimulus to increase anabolic hormone release and muscle protein synthesis. But if your hormonal levels are severely deficient, you may need targeted medical evaluation and treatment. However, lifestyle factors such as stress reduction, quality sleep, and balanced nutrition play a significant role in optimizing hormone production. What if you have been training hard but ignoring these hormonal aspects? You may be fighting an uphill battle against muscle loss. This interplay of digestion, hormones, inflammation, and cellular energy forms a complex web that underlies muscle loss after 40. If this resonates, please consider subscribing to the channel. Together, we will uncover every secret to regaining strength and vitality. But if you think this is the end of the story, think again. There is a final, almost invisible factor accelerating muscle decline: your daily exposure to environmental toxins. That will be our next and perhaps most urgent revelation. Environmental toxins infiltrate our bodies every day, silently accelerating muscle loss and robbing us of strength after 40 in ways few realize. From heavy metals like mercury and lead to pesticides, plasticizers, and air pollutants, these toxic substances disrupt hormone balance, trigger chronic inflammation, and damage muscle cells directly. Our modern world is awash with chemicals designed to last, accumulating in fat tissue and organs, including muscles. What if the water you drink, the air you breathe, or the plastic containers you use are slowly eroding your muscle health? These toxins interfere with the delicate hormonal signals essential for muscle repair and growth, particularly testosterone and growth hormone, which naturally decline with age. Moreover, toxins increase oxidative stress, overwhelming your mitochondria and causing cellular damage that speeds muscle breakdown. Unfortunately, standard detox routines rarely address these persistent compounds. The key lies in understanding exposure sources and adopting targeted strategies to minimize and eliminate toxins. Consuming organic foods reduces pesticide ingestion. Using water filters blocks heavy metals. Avoiding plastic containers with BPA or phthalates prevents chemical leaching. Supporting your body's detoxification systems through nutrient-dense diets, rich in sulfur-containing vegetables like broccoli and kale, and adequate hydration aids liver and kidney function. Regular sweating through exercise or sauna use promotes elimination of certain toxins stored in fat. But caution is necessary, as some detox methods can strain the body if not properly managed. If you have ignored environmental toxins as a factor in muscle loss, it is time to reconsider. Healing your muscles requires not only nourishment and exercise, but a commitment to reducing toxic burdens. What if this unseen enemy is the missing link to your muscle decline, despite your best efforts? This final piece completes the picture of muscle loss after 40 as a complex, multifaceted condition involving nutrition, digestion, inflammation, hormones, mitochondrial health, and toxin exposure. But there is hope. Your body is resilient beyond measure. With knowledge, action, and patience, muscle loss can be slowed, stopped, and even reversed. The journey is not easy, but it is worth every step. Your body can still recover, but only if you act today. Subscribe and begin the change.